I don't know.
Thank you.
He's going to deny it.
Thanks. So, communication is key in a relationship. I think most people would agree with that, except for maybe the single folk. But my problem with communication is listening. See, I'm not a very good listener. That's something that I need to work on. That's something that I need to develop. So when she comes home, I turn off the TV. I shut down the computer. I am not on the phone. And I'll ask her, hey, do you have a good day? And then I will brace myself, my friends. Because the answer I typically get is something along the lines of, well, I was driving into work today, right? And it started to like sleet and snow and stuff, and I was wearing those white boots that I got from Target. I should have got the brown boots from Bloomingdale's, because when I got out of the car, all that mud and slush and dirt and gook and stuff shows up in the white boots that much more. So I go through the big double doors that we have at work, you know, when I'm walking across that tile, and I notice that I'm trailing this mud and dirt and gook and stuff. And I know that they have somebody there to clean that kind of stuff up. Like, I know that that person has that job. But I still feel bad because I'm the one doing it. So I go to my locker where I keep my work shoes. I used to keep them in the car. I don't even know why. Like, that doesn't even make any sense at all, right? So I'm putting on my work shoes, and Lisa comes up to me because her locker's right next to mine. You remember Lisa? We went to that bonfire that she had. You know, there was all the pizza and laughter. You were throwing a ball because she's got that little pug dog named Hiccup. Right? Lisa comes up to me, she's like, hey, I was wondering if you want to do lunch today. And I think the reason she was asking is because Lisa's from Wisconsin. And today happened to be beer, cheese, soup, and bratwurst day. Not to say that people from Wisconsin enjoy beer, cheese, soup, and bratwurst more than people from Minnesota, because I love it, but you just tend to think that. I don't know, you just tend to think that. So Lisa's like, hey, do you want to do lunch today? And I'm like, yeah, if we're able to break at the same time, because we're not always able to, depending on the workload that we have, you know? And that was the case today. Like, we weren't able to break at the same time. And I was thinking about it on the ride home because there were some things that I really want to talk to Lisa about. And this Carly Simon song came on that reminded me of her. Maybe you've heard of it. I think it starts out... No. That cannot be the answer to that question. If you were listening, you heard me ask, hey, did you have a good day? Now, I'm not saying you need to be as blunt as yes or no. You can include some details, but in asking, hey, did you have a good day? There's no reason that I should know that you would have preferred to buy brown boots at Bloomingdale's. Okay? I don't need to know that in recent surveys, people from Wisconsin enjoy beer, cheese, soup, and bratwurst more than people from Minnesota, and I think there was a fucking dog named Hiccup in there. That's too much. I'm trying to be a better listener. You wouldn't take somebody who's trying to be a better swimmer, right? Boat them out in the middle of the ocean, hand them your collection of bowling balls, kick them over the edge, while helicopters circle them as they try to make it to shore with fire hoses shooting down at full blast, and you turn the temperature to tsunami. Of course you're not going to do that, because that person who's trying to be a better swimmer is going to go, you know what, I think the way that I was swimming before is probably fine. I'm going to head back and put on my floaties and try to stay out of the deep end. All I'm saying is there's two parts to communication, right? There's the listening, which again, I need to work on. And there's also being clear and concise with the information that you're giving out. And maybe that's something that you need to work on, honey. Sorry. You should know I don't always come out here to like work on jokes and stuff. Sometimes it's more or less to perfect arguments. I love her though, I love her. She's so smart and she's beautiful, but she's also really clever. Because she's heard that joke before. You know, not one of her favorites. So now she's kind of changed up the way she's been speaking to me when she comes home from work. And I think it's important that she's able to vent, you know, and it's also a good opportunity for me to listen, but she's condensing things, but not in a way that I would have thought. You know, she's really, I think she's messing with me. I think, I wrote it out, or I recorded her, but the sound quality is really bad, so I had to write it out. So here's what she says. The other day, you should know, Tina works in a hospital where there's a lot of abbreviations and acronyms, and she knows that I don't understand any of that terminology. So here she goes. The other day, one of the ENTs was looking up this patient's HP to see if the UA was back from the lab. And I had to check the patient's THR and BPM with the OPMS, which is kind of a complicated machine to use. So UMC policy is to run an INR scan, which the PhD does and finds a BPT. I know, I'm thinking OMG. So I bring the patient to the MDA to pump it full of N2O so that the team can remove parts of the skull, because they were thinking it could be OBD. Turns out everything went well. I saw the patient today after some well-deserved R&R, drinking OJ and having a Q&A with the MD about how it went in the OR because it could have went FooBar. BTW, I swung by the ATM to pick up something for that BYOB we RSVP to, and you mentioned that we needed A1 sauce, but tonight I think we'll have BLTs. She's fucking with me, right? Yes. Clever. I have tried to look up some of that so I could better understand her, and one of the terms that she mentioned was OBD, which stands for organic brain disease. Organic brain disease. Do you think that's healthier for you, but more expensive to treat? We had last weekend off, we were out of town, and we didn't have plans during the day, so we were looking for something to do, and we were both kind of feeling down, and the weather was really crappy. So I said, why don't we go to a pet store and play with some animals for a little while to make ourselves feel better? And she agreed, right? So we headed off to this pet store, and I'm playing with this dog, and she's holding this cat, and this woman comes up and says, "So, you thinking about adopting?" And I said, "No, not really. Let me just be honest with you. We're just having a crappy day. We thought we'd come in and play with the animals." And she says, "Well, all of them need really good homes." And I said, "Yeah, I know. That's why we're not going to take one. Because we both keep really poor hours, and, I like to step on things that run around the house. So we're just going to stay away." She says, "Well, the last owner used to beat them, and then he would drink gasoline and piss all over the animals and light them on fire. And then he would sit down and watch while he consumed more beers until his bladder filled enough so he could put them out." And I said, "Yeah, I think we're going to go. Thanks." We felt worse walking out of the pet store than walking in. And they make you feel so bad, because you're not going to adopt, I just wanted to say hi to some animals. So she said, "Fuck it, let's just go home. I can't take any more." And I said, "No, we shouldn't be made to feel bad because we want to see some animals." So I said, "Let me do the talking at this next pet store that we go to." So we walked in, same kind of scenario, we're playing with the animals. "So, you thinking about adopting today?" "Yeah, actually we are, because we live on this lake, and they haven't stocked the lake in 3 years, honey? 3 years now, right? So the bald eagles, are getting a little slender on everything. So we were thinking about picking up some animals. And in fact, do you have any pregnant animals that need talent homes? The good thing is they totally don't ask you about adoption after that, but they do watch you really close when you're playing with the animals. Because I'm "Oh, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?" And I can see her over in the corner going, "He's a good boy, and I will not let him get fed to eagles." Thank you all very, very much. Enjoy your night here at the Artist Corner. You've been fantastic.